Alright fellas, it's finally happening. Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn is back on the table. These two were meant to settle the score years ago, but as we all remember, that infamous egg fiasco brought the whole thing crashing down. And now, after all the drama, failed tests, and finger-pointing, the fight is officially rescheduled. The first press conference just went down, and let's just say, it got a bit messy. If you're new here, welcome to Knock On, your home for boxing. News, drama, and fight breakdowns. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a beat. Now, back to business. Eubank versus Benn isn't just another grudge match. This is a rivalry born out of legacy. If you're outside the UK, maybe you don't know the full story, but this all started with their fathers. Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank Sr. were part of one of the fiercest rivalries in British boxing history. Their first fight, a war that Eubank Sr. won. The rematch? A controversial draw. Now, decades later, their sons are stepping into the ring to write the next chapter. The first attempt to stage this fight in 2022 ended in chaos when Conor Benn tested positive for a banned substance just days before the bout. What followed was a circus of explanations, everything from contaminated supplements to excessive egg consumption. It sounded ridiculous then, and to a lot of fans, it still does. Eventually, Benn was cleared to fight again in the UK, and with that, the rematch talks heated back up. But let's be real, the last couple years haven't been smooth sailing for either guy. Benn has only fought twice since the scandal. Both low-key bouts in the US that felt more like tune-ups than serious matchups. He didn't look bad, but he didn't look great either, and he hasn't fought in over a year. Eubank, on the other hand, had a wild ride. First, he got stopped by Liam Smith in what many thought was the beginning of the end. Then, he came back strong in the rematch, dominating Smith and getting the TKO. That win put him back in the conversation, and at one point, he was even linked to a Canelo fight, though that never materialized. With Benn looking toward a WBC title shot and Eubank potentially angling for Canelo, a rematch didn't seem likely. But this is where Saudi Arabia stepped in. Turki Al-Sheikh made it happen, and not just as another Dazen card. This will be the first official Ring Magazine branded show, personally funded by Turki himself. He owns the ring now, and he's putting serious money and prestige behind this event. As for the presser, no one expected fireworks until the face-off. That's when things went from playful to chaotic. Chris Eubank Jr. literally slapped an egg on Conor Benn's face. Yeah, an egg. It was a direct shot at the excuse Benn used during the drug scandal. The idea was that his positive test came from eating too many eggs. That ruling from the WBC was widely mocked, and now Eubank's turned it into a psychological weapon. And it worked. Chaos erupted. Security jumped in, Nigel Benn grabbed Eubank by the throat, and the whole thing blew up. It was messy, but it also made one thing crystal clear. This isn't just hype. There's real animosity here. And Eubank? He might be playing mind games. He wants Conor emotional, off his rhythm. If Benn comes in wild chasing a knockout, Eubank's hoping to exploit those mistakes and box smart. Now, on paper, this is a strange matchup. Benn's a welterweight, Eubank's a natural middleweight. That's 2 divisions of size difference. There is a rehydration clause, but it doesn't change the fact that Eubank is the much bigger man. Sure, Benn looks powerful in training clips, but let's be honest, in his recent fights, even at super welterweight, that power didn't carry the same danger. Now he's going in with a full-blown middleweight. If Benn wins, it's going to have to be early. Catch Eubank cold, land something huge in the first 5 rounds. That's his best shot. But if the fight drags on, the longer it goes, the more it favors Eubank. If Chris can establish the jab, keep Benn on the outside, it could be a long night for Conor. And let's not forget, Eubank's uppercut is one of his sharpest weapons. Benn dips low a lot, and if Chris times him right, that punch could do serious damage. We also saw in Benn's last fight against Peter Dobson that there are some defensive holes there. Dobson landed clean far more often than he should have. Can bet Eubank and his camp are studying that footage and planning to exploit it. Look, Eubank's not elite, but he's far more technically sound than most of Benn's previous opponents. This fight will tell us a lot. Does Eubank still have the edge at 35? Or is this the moment Conor Benn silences the doubters and makes his mark on the global stage? And here's the wildest part. Turki Al-Sheikh has already said the winner could get a shot at Canelo. I know, it sounds insane. No one's asking to see Eubank versus Canelo, and no one wants to watch a welterweight like Benn try to take on a super middleweight beast. But in this new Saudi boxing era, anything is possible. That said, there is a rematch clause for Eubank. Maybe for both guys. So unless we get a dramatic knockout, don't be surprised if we see Benn versus Eubank 3 before anyone gets near Canelo. At the end of the day, I'm excited for this one. Maybe it's nostalgia, remembering the iconic wars between their fathers. Or maybe it's just that we're finally going to get some closure on this mess of a rivalry. Hopefully, no more cancellations, no more controversy, just a good old-fashioned fight. And honestly, I'm a bit jealous of all the UK fans. If this goes down at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, the atmosphere is going to be electric. So let me know what you think. Does Benn have a shot, or is Eubank just too big and too experienced? Drop your predictions in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Helps the channel out a ton. Thanks for watching Knock On, and I'll catch you in the next one.